Hi, I'm David Penn, Research Analyst with Finovate. We're here at Finovate Spring 2022 in San Francisco, California. Joining me today is Justin Beals. He is CEO of StrikeGraph. Justin, thanks for joining us today.
It's my pleasure, David, of course.
Great. So let's get right into it. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do at StrikeGraph?
Sure, I'm the co-founder and CEO of StrikeGraph. And what StrikeGraph does is help companies reach critical security compliance certifications. These are the types of certifications that impact revenue and the ability to represent the maturity of your organization.
Okay, interesting. One of the things I wanted to talk about was why is it important for financial services companies in particular to have the right compliance partner? But I thought maybe we could even back up before that and ask, why do they need a partner? Why isn't this something they can do themselves?
Well, the challenge is that the standards that you're trying to meet can be complex. And it's important to not only have technology, but a provider of that technology with intelligence about how to meet the standard so that you don't essentially spin your wheels trying to do things that don't necessarily make you more secure and don't necessarily impact compliance.
Right.
And so when revenue is on the line, and that's what the challenge is here. Without being able to represent a security posture that meets certain standards, you might not get that partnership, you might not get that contract. You really need to do it efficiently and effectively and be able to maintain it for a long period of time.
Yeah, excellent point. One of the things I'm curious about is how, in particular, StrikeGraph helps companies, fintech companies in particular, deal with some of the compliance issues that might otherwise be the kinds of things they might find that would sort of box them or hem them in.
Oh, this is a great question. And I think one of the secrets about compliance practices is that if there's some aspect of your business that isn't applicable to the standard, you're actually not required to be assessed to it.
Okay.
And so what's really important is to customize your security posture according to the types of risks that your business is meeting in the marketplace, and then respond to those risks. And then be able to talk to the assessor and say, hey, look, we don't necessarily have this particular risk. It's not something we solve for, and therefore it's not something we need to be assessed for. That way you get through the compliance process as efficiently as possible. And another important result is that the practices, the security you're doing internally, really meets what matters to your business.
Yes, and I guess that really does underscore what we talked about a moment ago in terms of partnership, the level of complexity, and as you said, having an institution not get in over its head trying to do things it really doesn't need to do.
And the secret sauce at StrikeGraph is that we have a very intelligent SaaS platform that helps our customers customize that particular security posture based upon the risks that they're impacting their business.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about that in just a second, but I thought just so folks would be clear, can you talk about some of the types of companies that you work with in terms of the industries, size, that sort of thing?
Yeah, this is impacting any B2B company that's sharing data.
Oh, wow.
And that's
Okay.
really how we describe our marketplace. And of course, Fintech handles some of the most precious transaction and pieces of data.
Absolutely.
And they have a long history of things like PCI DSS, where compliance is really important. So they really do understand the value of having a good compliance practice and the maturity it can represent the company.
Right. Now, you talked a little bit about your platform. You mentioned it again just a moment ago. Could you tell us a little bit more about it? What makes it particularly unique and maybe helps StrikeGraph stand apart from its competitors?
Sure, absolutely. So before I started StrikeGraph, I was a chief technology officer for many years. And one of my challenges was that we knew we needed good security. We were happy to implement it, but I didn't want to implement just a security checklist, one that didn't necessarily match our business. Right. So what's really differentiated about the StrikeGraph platform is the first thing that we try and do is minimize the security practices that are required for your organization. You do a risk assessment on the platform that recommends the control activity that matches your particular risk profile and identifies the evidence you need to collect so that you can validate that security posture. We then measure the gap to multiple standards, everything from SOC 2 to ISO 27001, HIPAA, and of course for FinTech, PCI DSS, which we're excited to have launched at Finovate Spring this year.
Oh, fantastic. Really interesting stuff. Well, it's really great to have you as a part of Finovate Spring. I really appreciate you talking us through a little bit about compliance. It's one of those issues that people don't like to have to necessarily think about, but it's something that everybody does have to think about. And I really appreciate the way that you talked about the importance of focus and really helping them key in on what matters and not wasting a lot of time or money on what doesn't matter.
David, I appreciate the thoughtful questions. We're excited to participate, of course.
Yeah, fantastic. So again, Justin Beals, CEO of StrikeGraph.